Talking about that football. Talking about
About
that
that food.
pigskin.
Now, welcome back, Bannock folks. We know that this isn't a sport channel by any means, but we come together for music. One of America's greatest television extravaganzas is the Super Bowl. And of course, we'd be remiss if we wouldn't mention the halftime show, especially because it's Kendrick Lamar this year. I really wanted to get into maybe what his set list might be, what he might start off with, who he might bring out, what the guests might be, what it might look like, because there's always really interesting performances happening at the Super Bowl.
I immediately guessed that SZA would be a featured guest, and it's been announced that they are. So I think we were both thinking that, actually. A lot of people were speculating that Tyler, the Creator, might make a guest appearance. He has made it a point to say he won't, which immediately made me suspicious that he will, especially because his excuse was that, I'm on tour, I'm not going to be able to make it. You fly out for a 10-minute set and fly back. He can jump in the PJ. There is a lot of speculation about him playing Not Like Us. Can he? Can you play the This Guy's a Pedophile song at the Super Bowl?
I don't think you can. Let's start off with the first song, the big song. A lot of people bet on this, which is pretty insane. What do you think is the first song that's going to happen? He comes out with his very first song. It's going to be a new song none of us have heard before because it's tied in with Apple Music. It'll get released the next day after it on there.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't heard that. That's interesting.
That's a prediction that I just came up with.
Oh, interesting.
He might play a song called Compton. That was a deep cut off of Good Kid, Mad City. And I think Dre is going to come out and say, now put your hands together for King Kendrick Lamar. That is my prediction. Outside of maybe a new song.
Interesting. So that would also mean that one of your predicted guests would potentially be Dr. Dre.
Dre, absolutely, 100%.
Okay. My guess for the intro song is Whacked Out Murals. Not because it's even just the first song on GNX, but it's a way of addressing a lot of the Kendrick stuff without being so upfront about it. It's a really nice tone setter. It's not crazy. It's very low key, very, very memorable beat on it. I think that Whacked Out Murals would be the way to start.
I think the next song he's going to play is Humble. I think that's a very popular song by him.
You know, it's funny. I obviously wrote that down too. I think that that's kind of a given. That's like the Normie Bait song, like that or King Kunta. And I think Humble's just the bigger and, in my opinion, more bangier track for an arena. I do think Humble would also make a good intro song because it has such a presence right away. It has such a just crazy energy right away. And on top of that, you would be getting probably the most predictable song out of the way immediately. And then everything else after that is a surprise.
Next up, I put Turn This TV Off. I think DJ Mustard is going to be out there.
Absolutely. I wrote down Mustard as a guest. I have TV Off on my list. I have it last. That's a victory anthem. That's a victory anthem, dude. The big victorious horns. I would be shocked if TV Off wasn't the last song played.
Luther is a hit right now. I heard it in the Walmart that I was in today. Great song. This is a great song.
Beautiful song.
And then I put Squabble Up next. I think Squabble Up.
Okay.
I think a lot of this is going to be a stand for his new record that just came out, right? So why wouldn't he be performing it? Squabble Up would be next. Now we're deep into his set list. What would you think about this? Where do you think? Do you think Squabble Up is going to be on there?
There's a possibility that it could be played much more than a lot of his other catalog. Money Trees is just a classic song. I think that's something that he could play. And this is probably not going to get played, but I was just thinking about it. And I think the song Count Me Out would be a really interesting track to play here too. Again, because of the messaging in that song.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyler's full of shit. And if Tyler's full of shit, I'm almost positive that we're getting a hey now, that guy sort of double performance. I wrote down two people he might bring with him. I wrote down Ab Soul and Baby Key.
Ooh, that would be super cool. He could do all sorts of stuff with Absol, and then like
Mhm.
maybe he even does Heart Part 6, and then he does like an old track with Absol. Like, oh man, yeah,
Mhm.
Absol would be a really cool, and
Yeah.
maybe even do what do we get? What if we get a Black Hippie reunion with J Rock on there, and sorry,
Well,
who
if he
else?
plays Money Trees, he could
And then
bring out J-Rock.
and then Schoolboy, so, like,
Schoolboy would be cool.
so like
That'd be really, really
everybody
crazy.
in Black Hippie would come out, so it would just be like Absol, Schoolboy, J Rock, and Kendrick.
Yeah, those would be my predictions more or less. Like, I'm sure he's gonna have like plenty of crew around. You know what I mean? To put on.
There you have it, folks. That was our prediction for Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show. What did you think? Leave it all down below. Leave it all in the discussions. What did you think? What is his set list in your mind? Who do you think is going to bring out? Let us know. Thank you for following us.